Afternoon. Good afternoon. I thought it was not afternoon. Well, welcome to the afternoon session that will be showing more the technology of almost everything that we talked about, all that you've seen in the morning. Of course, it will not be everything, but most of the stuff that you see in the morning. Before I start, just want to have Wens show us something about the mobile app. Because we understand there are some guys who are struggling to get their program for the agenda for the event. So I'll have Wens to do that before we go very far.
Okay, afternoon. This is the Play Store. Basically what you're seeing is the Play Store. So in order to get the app, we have it available on Play Store. You just go to Play Store and search Esri Eastern Africa events. So after searching Esri Eastern Africa events, it's the only app that will come. So on my device, I've already installed the application. But if you have not installed your application, then on your device, you'll click download. Where you can see open, you'll click download. And then you'll be given the option to open. So I'll just go ahead and open. So assuming that you've downloaded this application to your device, and you open, this is the application. And you need to scroll up, because you have had other events. The Eastern Africa User Conference is the last event. You click on it, and we have the user conference program among other items. So this is the first page. Up there we can see some 4 lines. If you cannot see that line, then just pull from your left. Just pull from your left, the very left of your gadget, and then you'll have something close to what you're seeing on your screens. So then go to the activity feed, and that's where we'll get our program. And as you can see, right now what is happening is under live, and it has been highlighted green, which is the technical plenary. For an upcoming event, you click on the button upcoming, and next you'll see what we have. If you want to see what happened, then you click on the past events. It will turn dark gray, and you can see what happened in the morning till where we are. This happens consequently through the whole user conference, and it will be updating itself using your gadget's time. So in case you want to see what will happen tomorrow, then you go and click on Thursday. If I click on Thursday, then this will bring me what will happen tomorrow at this time and another time. So for now, I hope everyone can now figure their way around to the program. The rest, I believe, we'll figure out slowly. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Of course, that's for Android users. The rest of us who uses iOS and Windows, and those who do not have any operating system, there is a PDF version of the same on the events webpage that you could download or view from there. So I guess the conservation guys and the environmentally friendly guys are aware of what we're doing, going paperless and green at the same time. So thank you. And of course, look for wins anywhere if you're stuck with your app. Thanks. I thought I encountered a technical problem. So, well, thank you. As I said, my name is Clifford Okembo, and I work with Esri on Africa, and I'll be guiding the presentations for this afternoon. As it is indicated in your program, it's a technical plenary, so it will be more of showing the technology and how the technology is helping to solve different problems that we have, or our day-to-day, how technology is getting into our day-to-day activities, which I think is a very interesting thing. And as you can see, I'm talking about ArcGIS as a system of systems. So ideally, you're thinking about how you use ArcGIS as a system that gets into all the activities, all the processes, all the workflows, and apart from that, how at the end of the day it is ending up to be your system of records that you had in the morning, your system of engagement, and system of insights. And so at the end of it all, you're talking about it as a system of systems. And this, I think, is very interesting and very important, because, I mean, GIS has evolved from where it was 20 years ago, 10 years ago, to where it is now, which I think it's really a very nice evolution. Talking about evolution, I think we are seeing a lot going on in the world. Just think a bit, slightly a bit about everything that we see in terms of technological developments and the new ways of doing things, the new terms that we're talking about. So as far as contents are concerned, we are talking about a lot more about LiDAR data. We are talking about sensors in terms of the data collection. We are talking about UAVs, which I think is another interesting thing that guys talk about every now and then. And I think Tanzania is actually leading the region, the Eastern Africa region, in the use of UAVs, and that is nice. But again, the stuff like real-time, social media, and many others are some of the very many things that we are seeing happening in the world as of now. On the other hand, we're seeing a lot of apps, call it app revolution. Everything, just right from the program that we've shown, there must be an app for it. You want to check traffic, you're moving from here to there, you're looking for, is there an app for that? So the app revolution also is another interesting thing that is happening now. 3D, we want to see what is in the third dimension, and of course, soon we're talking about real time, so that could be the fourth dimension, and many other things as far as the applications are concerned. In the technology world, we're talking about IoT, or Internet of Things, big data. Guys who've heard about big data, and yesterday I think I was put at the task to define what big data is, and I'm not sure how I defined it, but I think I said it's just a lot of unstructured data that exists everywhere. But that might not be scientific definition, but I think I was close. But all these are stuff that we have. Use of cloud or cloud computing. I'm talking about a lot of AAS or very many things. So is it SaaS, software as a service, infrastructure as a service, data as a service, and many, many other things as a service. I think I'm yet to see people as a service. Which might come, I'm not sure. So in terms of technology, you're also seeing a lot of things. And I mean, apart from that, what is not on my slides, we're talking about machine learning, we're talking about augmented realities or virtual realities. These are things that we are talking about now in the technology world. On the other hand, the applications that we are looking for or that are trending, we are looking for applications that are ready to use or are easier to use, configurable than customizable, and also a lot more about open, the applications that are open. And this stuff, this concept of open is, I think, a very important concept at the end of the day. And this now opens the door of something that we'll be talking about, of integration with every other system. So every other system talking to each other, and that's really very, very important. I mean, the basis of this that we talk about WebGIS. WebGIS that opens the door for everything else that is happening that I've mentioned over there, and based, again, taking advantage of the technological developments to bring in our GIS in that nature. And so the GIS is just not a closed thing that probably belongs to some few individuals in the GIS team or in the GIS department, but for everybody else at the end of the day, be it they are in the organization, which is irrespective of the level of the position in the organization, and even the stakeholders who might, most of the times, are outside the organization, but very important, your customers, your donors, and many others. So as I was saying, WebGIS actually has changed the architecture of how we implement and do our GIS. So with ArcGIS, we are seeing a lot of integration and simplification in everything that we do with these WebGIS. So apart from just us having our long time one-stop desktop for your GIS, but we are talking about GIS now, having ArcGIS now as a system of record that it's a one-stop for all sorts of assets or data sets that you have. So when you're talking about your authoritative data, that's where you get them. That's where you go for everything that you need. And of course, that now expands to all the applications that we need, all the information products that are important for us, that are important for your organization, and also that are important for your users. But again, when we think about the way we do things, I talked about smartphone, smart devices as another thing that has come up. And so you realize that people use devices. I think by last year, but one, they were saying an average guys do have about 2.8 devices. 2.8. So it means we do have at least more than 2 devices. And I think you have more than 2. So I think so. Yes. So from these devices, we like to do almost everything that we do. Somebody once mentioned that work is no longer just a place where we go work and go back home, but it has changed to be everywhere. So from where you are, irrespective of what you're doing or what you're doing where you are, you're still able to do almost the same thing that you could do from the office. And this has come as a result of what we call consumerization of IT. What I'm really interested in at the end of the day is us having the location strategy for all our organization to tap into the WebGIS, and that also help GIS to cut across the whole of your organization, the whole of your workflows, everybody within your organization. Be it the field officers, maybe you are monitoring or coordinating them from the office and they're in the field, so that reduces that amount of work that most of the time we do. The guys go to the field, over a month they come back. When they come back, they start data entry. Of course, in the course of data entry, we lose data. Or in the course of coming back from the field, we lose a lot of data. At the end of the day, once you have all our data set entered, we probably have a quarter of what we did in the field, and of course we go back again, which depending from where you sit, is not a very good idea. But of course, other guys who are short-sighted will think that it's good because they go to the field, spend very many months, and get a lot of per diem, right? but that's really not the organizations are interested in. Organizations are interested in efficiencies, they're interested in effectiveness in everything that they do, and of course, improve performance. We're also thinking about support for your decision making. Each and every decision is informed and well informed with data, because data is that one thing that is true all the times. And so that has to be informed all the times. And of course, when you bring in the concept of real time, then I mean, it means that we are making great or highly informed real-time decisions, which I think is a good concept. But of course, we are also forgetting our customers or our constituents, who at any one time we have to be in collaboration with them. And so this location strategy is a very important stuff that we have to pick and implement. And ArcGIS actually helps that through the WebGIS that I've already mentioned. At the end of the day, when that is done, then we have the three systems in one. So our WebGIS, ArcGIS, powering the system of records, at the same time the system of engagements, and also system of insights. So, as you might have seen from Carsten's slide, that you could still implement this WebGIS depending on the scale. It's scalable, but you could start from anywhere. So, from anywhere, depending on their size, depending of course with their budgets and probably the mandates, could implement it from anywhere. But at the same time, it has also grown. So there's that scalability that you could grow it over time, until at that point that you have a fully distributed system of systems that does not only integrate your bring that collaborations and insight for only your organization, but also extend it to other organizations you are collaborating with the government, your donors, every stakeholder, and also other organizations that probably you're doing almost the same stuff with. And this I think is really very, very important. Yesterday I was mentioning one of the seminars that we only struggle getting budgets for GIS because the GIS you do is not having any impact to everybody else in the organization. Right from the decision makers, those guys who allocate funds, they always ask you why you need this because they haven't seen the impact of the investment. What the business guys call ROI, return of investment. And so if we could deploy our GIS and utilize it fully then and across our organization, then I mean those are kind of questions that or discussion that we don't get. So as I've mentioned and probably has been mentioned, ArcGIS is a complete WebGIS platform that helps us to manage all our content and apply geographic information. Irrespective of the device that you're using, is it the desktop, the apps, or not the app, but the smartphones, or whichever that you're using, be it you've implemented it on-premise or on the cloud, or you've done a hybrid, ArcGIS supports all this. Or ArcGIS is, the WebGIS cuts across all these different modes of deployment. And so at the end of the day, it supports all the individuals in that organization, the whole organization, that is teams and departments, sections, whichever way that you that your organization is segmented, and even to the whole community. So at the end of the day, everything is evolved, and ArcGIS is also evolved from where we're talking about the clients and servers to more of web services and apps. Talking about static data to more of a real-time data set. we're talking about the proprietary data to open data and shared services. I think yesterday we had a very interesting discussions about open data, and I love them. Talking about more of the 2D data sets to 3D figures, and many others, digital cartography to more smart mapping. These are some of the things that we like to show you this afternoon to see how ArcGIS has actually evolved into this and how you could take advantage of this and grow your GIS to something that is not only for you, but for everybody else, for the better of your organization and also for everybody else. It's not fun for everybody to come to for GIS guys, GIS department, these guys who are GIS department. It's not fun for everybody to come for a map, a printed map in your team. And then there's a queue. So needs a map of this project, so needs a map for this project. And you all have to do them, and they have their very strict timelines. So you are all in pressure. What about you location enable them, and they are able to get their map from wherever they are using whichever device that they are using. And so your work is just to empower them, and then they are able to do their work efficiently from where they are. And that, I think, is the interest that we have. I'll pick, there are about six different products or stuff that we'll be showing you this afternoon, starting with ArcGIS Enterprise. How many guys have used ArcGIS for Server or ArcGIS Server? What are you using? 6. Many guys have never had that kind of thing. It's always good to be sincere. How many guys do not know what I'm talking about? Thank you. It's only the cameraman who doesn't know what I'm saying. But that's fine. I mean, there's always a starting point for everything. So, I mean, for those who have used ArcGIS Server, at 10.5, ArcGIS 10.5, we actually, changed the packaging of ArcGIS Server and also changed the naming. So we are actually talking about ArcGIS Enterprise. And ArcGIS Enterprise, simply put, layman language, simply put, is ArcGIS Server plus portal for ArcGIS bundled together. Oh, plus your named users. So 3 things put together. ArcGIS Server, portal for ArcGIS, and the identity or named users. Put together, we're talking about ArcGIS Enterprise. Layman's way of describing it. And then this is more of for your enterprise data management, analysis, and mapping. It's actually for everything that you do. And at the same time, as we bundled that, we also did provide some different servers. So you have the base deployment that is the GIS server, the portal, and the data store as a base deployment. And then there are others, depending with the usage. They're doing a lot of more imagery, then you also add on top of the base deployment, the image server. If you're doing real-time data, connected to very many sensors, or you're tracking different stuff, be it animals, or you're tracking vehicles, or you're just anything real-time, then you also add on top of that the J-event server. Or you're doing analytics, talking about big data and many other things. Those kind of big data analytics, then you bring in the geo-event server. All these, we call them ArcGIS Enterprise. One thing that is very important that is brought over there is this concept of portal with your ArcGIS server that makes the enterprise complete. And this portal is that one-stop shop for your organization to collaborate. Of course, now moving from the system of records to system of engagement, for your whole organization to collaborate. So we organize your users, you organize your content, based on the users and also the themes. And so, since it is within your organization, or you could have it behind your firewalls, then it means that not everybody within that organization has access to everything, but they only have access to what they need. Yeah. So everything is in the portal, but not everything is available for everybody. but you also collaborate in terms of data sharing and also information sharing and many other things. And so this ArcGIS Enterprise actually has evolved to something that I think is very, very interesting for you. At the same time, I've mentioned something about identity or identity on top of this, and I think I wanted to take some slightly more time or less time on this. That this is kind of the key to accessing the ArcGIS platform wherever you are, irrespective of the device you're using, where you are, and what you like to do. There must be an identity. Have to be known that yes, this is Clifford. Clifford is doing this on, is editing this map from the field. Clifford changed this parcel of data or subdivided this parcel, and of course added different IDs and the owners and all this. So at any one time you are able to track who does what, and these identities or the people who are identified over here. Of course, the difference comes in terms of the access levels, the security that is provided, and the capabilities, what I'm able to do within that organization. And as I said, that not all of us have the same rights or access. Not all of us are the same, we are different users. It's just like those guys long time ago, before we used this identity came, those guys who are doing the DBMSs, and you create different users, different privileges within the DBMS, it's SQL Server or Oracle or whatever. But again, it's the same thing as what we do with the Active Directory, for those who have that in their organization. Everybody is in the organization Active Directory, but not everybody is the same when it comes to access and sharing information within that organization. So it's the same concept. And so this means that you are able to do your work wherever you are, using different applications that we have. So right from ArcGIS Enterprise, you have ArcGIS Desktop, ArcGIS, the apps that we have, be it on your smartphone or on the desktop, the same ID, the same person. You don't have to be in the office to log in into that computer. You could still sign in from wherever you are. So all these three, we bring them together, and it cuts across our organization. And these help everybody to work together, of course, by securely sharing their data, apps, and knowledge that we have in that organization. And this really powers or makes the system of engagement to be a reality, or to be a reality. I just want to ask James to show us something small about what we are talking about at ArcGIS Enterprise, and also the identity as we could use it across our organization, different devices, different applications. James.
Thank you very much, Clifford. So, with a unique and secure identity for ArcGIS, you can unlock apps and maps anywhere using any device. So this will allow you to take full advantage of the ArcGIS Enterprise, ArcGIS Desktop, and ArcGIS Mobile, which makes up the ArcGIS platform. So for example, here with me I have a very simple map of electric distribution showing where clients are currently connected or disconnected to the power grid. So here on the side you can see that I have signed in with my identity, that is J. Moredi, and I've signed in to this organization. On the same app that I have offered using ArcGIS Pro, which is one of the newest applications on the ArcGIS Desktop suite of application. It's a very good application, very easy to use, intuitive, and it has a modern interface. It is also 64-bit, but Laban will be talking more about the ArcGIS Pro in a while. So you can see here I also have a layer of incidences, and this is what I want to activate some collaboration with my field users out there. So for me to do this, I need to publish this map and share it online. So with ArcGIS, with ArcGIS Pro rather, there is a dedicated tab for sharing your content, your JS content. And as you can see here, there are different ways that I can share my GS content or map, for instance. One of the ways that I can do that is creating a package which compiles all the data you have on your map, which includes your attachments and everything, creates one file that you can then take, upload to your ArcGIS Online, for example, share via email, or you can copy with a flash disk. However, that will not really enable collaboration. So, of course, there are other ways you can export the map to different file formats. For instance, you have your bitmaps, JPEGs, etc. But that again will also not give you any collaboration. You can also export the map. Rather, you can also print the map as it is. For right now, because we want to be able to publish this map and share it, we're going to just go ahead and publish it. Once you go to the publishing, once you select how you want to publish this, there are basically 3 easy steps to get your map from your desktop to the web or to your GIS portal. The first thing, of course, you have to give this a name. You have to decide whether you want to publish this as a feature layer or tags. You give it a description, making it easy for people to identify what you're trying to publish. You can put your tags. This makes your work easier to find. And then again here, remember we want to collaborate with others. So the first way, when you publish this, if I just click publish, I have not shared this with anybody in the organization. It will just be on my content page, which is like basically your inbox on your email. So, but because I just don't want to keep this in my content page, I want to share it, I can go ahead and share with a particular group. So you can have different groups in your ArcGIS Online. For example, here you can see electric group is selected. If I want to share this with the whole organization, I can just go ahead and select the organization that I have. So when I share this, everybody who's part of the organization will be able to see this map and consume it. Then finally, you can share with the public. So once I select that, this map will be available for anyone who is online and looking for example, an electro data set, for example. Then the next step is to decide what operations you want to have on your map. Most of the time, you want to activate editing. So you go ahead and click, I want to enable editing for this map. Then, even after you've enabled that, you have to decide what kind of editing do you want. Do you want people to be able to add new features on your map? Do you want them to be able to update existing content on the map? Or do you want them to also be able to delete features entirely from your map? The next option is, maybe for example, when you have a meter reading project, you just want people to update the attributes and nothing else, no deletion of existing features. You just want them to update the attributes. So that's the second option. Or finally, just allow them to add features only. For example, again, in a meter data collection project where they're just collecting new meters. Finally, here I have 2 other options. You can enable synchronization. So what you want to do is basically allow them to synchronize data from the field back to the office and from the office to the field. And of course, finally, maybe allow them to export the data once they're done. Then the last setting here is select which folder you want to be able to publish this content with. So you can select my content, and then once you publish it, it will immediately just go to your my content page, for example. I had already published to save on time. So if I go to my online, ArcGIS Online or UGS portal, you can be able to find on the content page the published map. So there it is, right there. So before I open this and show it to you, maybe I can quickly take us through the main menu of ArcGIS Online. So this is the top ribbon here. So the first thing, you have your homepage. So your homepage is where your visitors come to the first time. So you have your banner, the name of your organization, and a logo that you can edit. Then, most importantly, you have your featured content. These are the maps that you want people to see when they come to your site or your GIS portal. So you can share this with a particular group that is enabled for that particular purpose. So anybody who comes here can be able to start browsing through the maps that you have, which is a very cool feature. The next page is the gallery. So the gallery will show you all the maps that you have in your organization that you can see or view, all the layers, scenes, apps, and even the tools that people are going to publish on ArcGIS Online. Then if you go to Esri Featured Content, you will see all the public resources that have been published, and you can consume them immediately. And there's quite a lot, and you can browse through and see that there will be quite a lot of this resources, maps, tools, and all that you can be able to use in base maps, etc., etc. Then the other page that I want to talk about is the groups. So apart from you being able to create a new group to feature content, you can be able to browse through groups that you, for example, own. You can see I own this group here as J. Moridi, and I have an option to delete it because I own a group. However, the second one, which is Citizen Proper Management, is owned by my colleague Laban. I only have an option to leave the group. I cannot delete it because it doesn't belong to me. And you can also filter out by groups you own or groups that are owned by others. You can also view other featured groups that are public that you can join and start, of course, taking advantage of what has been published in those groups. Finally, here under groups, you have your organization groups. These are all the groups that are available in your organization that you can just, you can just browse through and click to join. On the last menu item or link is the organization. This is basically where you make all the changes. You can edit your settings for the JS model, and you can also view how many members you have in your organization. So for example, here I have a number of them. You can see their usernames. You can see the last time that they logged in. If you're, for example, the administrator, of which I am, as you can see here. Then the level that they are in. Basically, there's a level 1 and a level 2 that gives you more power, for example, when you're in this particular level. And the role as well. So each person has a different role. We have an administrator, that I am in this particular organization. You have a publisher, a user, and a basic viewer. And then some actions for each person, for each member. You can manage the items they have on their content page. You can view the groups that they belong to. You can view their profile. In case they lost their password, they can come back to you and say, I lost my password, and this is where you can go and reset that password for them to enter it afresh. You can enable them for Esri access to get full advantage of all the sites that are there sharing content. Then again here you can change their level from level 1 to level 2 and give them more power to work on their content. I think finally on the side there was delete a member. So in case someone left the organization, this is where you actually go to delete them, freeing up space for you to add more people onto the site. Finally, on the settings, you can see here there are quite a number of settings that you can work. You can go there and change. And under general, this is where you set the name of the organization, for example. This is the area that you put your description, a summary, choose the default language, for instance, the region that you're in, etc. So you can be able to change all of these settings. Once you're done, click the save button, and you're good to go. You can pretty much customize anything, including the banners and the backgrounds that are available for you, and which group contains the content that you want to face out to the public, for example. Now, the map that I published is already here, and one thing that I'd like to show is how similar it looks to what I have on the desktop. So this is the ArcGIS Pro map. You can see the layers that I have on the side, and here you can see it simply looks exactly the same with my layers on the side. Now for me to continue working on this or sharing it, I can go ahead and even create an application. I'm sure you've heard about how do you go about creating applications or creating web applications for consumption. I can just just scroll down, click on the create a web app, and you will see how easy it is for you to get started creating web applications without writing any piece of code. There are so many templates that you can take advantage of. All these are templates that you can actually use. You can browse through them, and this depends exactly with what the map that you published or that you have is for. So I can select, for example, this story map basic, and once you select it, you can either go ahead and create the web app, you can preview how it looks, or download it. Once you download it, you can give this code to your IT team to make further customization. A quick preview will be able to show you how that map will look like when it's done in just a few seconds. This is one of them that I had earlier done, and you can see it looks really nice. You can share it. You can also do some custom stuff, for example, like a quick search of meters. So if someone has a tablet and they're using this application out in the field, they're able to search for meter numbers, and that will zoom them to where exactly that meter is, and they're able to see the different attributes available on that particular map. There's a different way of creating a web application, and that is through a web app builder, in case you want some more hands-on onto exactly how your end product wants to look like. So go ahead and go to the web app builder. Again, decide what names and descriptions and tags you want to have for your map. Just scroll down to the bottom and then go and get started. Once you get started, it prepares everything you need in the background. So you don't have to really suffer writing codes and all that. Everything becomes easy for you out of the box. So it loads quite fast and prepares everything for you. So the first thing you decide upon is how you want the web application to look like. You can see here you have different options. So for example, if I select the tab theme, you will see here I have a preview of how that's going to look like. I go to the tab theme. That changes how the web application looks like in real time. And then I can even select the color that I want. You can see I've chosen the red theme, and that has again changed. And then the next step is to select a map. But because I already have a map, I'm just going to go next. But you have an option of changing the map from here. You can see how easy it really is to do all this. And then you can decide the widgets that you want to have on your web application. You can see here I have 3 options there that I can fully customize. I can go here to the first widget, which is here. Click on that, and then from here I can look for any functionality that I want to add on my map. For example, the draw functionality. I click OK. I can rename it to whatever I want. Click OK, and now that particular widget has that functionality to draw on the map, if that's exactly what you wanted. Of course, there's so much you can do. You can also add this other information, for example, your coordinates, and just add it there. Click OK, and you're good to go. So as you continue, you might want to have a preview of this in different devices. For instance, you can either save or click on previews, and this loads for you a number of devices. And once you go through each device, depending on how you want to, or which devices you have in your organizations, for example, this is iPhone 7 Plus. This is how the application will look on the iPhone 7. Whoever has a Lenovo can just go ahead and click that and see how that looks like as well. For the bigger tabs, you can just go ahead as well. For example, I can go to Surface Pro 2, see how that looks like. And if I'm happy with it, I can go ahead and launch my application. Please note that if your device is not listed, you can just scan this QR code and you will see the application on your phone. So once you're done, go ahead and launch that, and you should see your application in just a few. So it's a great way of having web applications really fast without, of course, having programmers in the organization. I am very sorry if you have programmers in the room. All right, so enough about the web and the desktop. How about the mobile? So I'm just going to minimize this. Lapan is going to help me hold the mic. So this is an ArcGIS Explorer, one of the many applications we have for the mobile. And I just want to take us through this really quickly because my colleague Anthony will be talking about web applications. Very easy to use. Again, you can see the map looks exactly the same as it did on the desktop. So there's some uniformity in that. You can tap on any feature. For instance, I have a meter right there. Once you tap it, let me tap it again. Yeah, there you go. you can be able to see all the attributes attached to that particular feature just by a simple tap. You can scroll up or down depending on how much information you have on the attributes. Then you can remember, for instance, how we used to like to make notes on our maps. And this new application on ArcGIS Explorer allows us to add on some notes onto our maps, just like we used to scribble down our printed maps and make a note, for instance. And it's very simple. You can see the pencil edit button on the side at the bottom. You just go ahead and tap it, and now you can be able to draw on the map. For example, here I've detected there's an issue that I need to report. I'm just going to draw around this area here, which is a parcel of land, or basically where we are, and I suspect there's some illegal connection. So I can just go ahead, draw around it, and because I want it to be an area or a polygon, I'm just going to finish off that as a polygon. I'm going to bring that up. I want to add a note and say new label, illegal connection. You can say scene, for example, and add it. And then you can add a note. Share this from the field, say kindly investigate. All right, when you're done, you can bring that down. And then you can even show the direction from which you want to probably allow the engineers to come from, for instance. So I'm just going to draw a quick line and show my engineers how to get there. So that's a line, and I can draw an arrow right there to show them exactly where to go to. And even this one, I can make a note on that, just add a label rather. So I'm going to say use this direction. Add it, then I'm done. So it's good that it's on my phone, but I want to share it. How do I share it? Simply just go to at the top. You can see there's a share button. In case you want to clear, you can clear from there as well. So I'm going to click on share, and there are different ways of sharing. I have 3 of them. I can do a screenshot. I can share it to my ArcGIS online, or I can even share on my device, for example, on WhatsApp or email, or I can simply save that to my cloud. So if I select, for example, the chart application, I can share it with a colleague that I want to see that immediately. The other way I can share, let me just use the ArcGIS Online, so that you can share with everybody. And here you can see I can now select, for example, a group that I want to share this with, maybe the whole organization. So once I select that, I can tap that and say go ahead and share that with the organization. And that prepares the content of that markup and shares it to my ArcGIS Online. So there, hoping that it's shared. If I just minimize it, I go to my content page. There you go, I should be able to see my markup. And if I open this in a map viewer, it should open a new map, zoom into the markup, and show me the attributes that I put on that particular markup, which is a very easy way of being able to share whatever you have from the field with your colleagues. Of course, it's also available on your desktop. So you go to your catalog, refresh. Once you refresh, you should see your markup. Simply drag it to the map, and it should zoom into your markups, and you can click them to see what exactly has been shared from the field. There you go. So you can pin that and even look at what direction or that arrow meant, and you can see they say we use that direction. So the identity allows you to do all this. ArcGIS identity allows you to do all this. So thank you very much. Back to you.
Well, he just said that he pities the programmers in the room, but I think that's really not the point. The point is that the programmers' work has been made very easy, and so they could have a lot of output within a very short period of time. And what is produced is high quality that serves the purpose. I think that's really very important. Thanks a lot, James. Moving on, just thinking of some of the capabilities that James has talked about that you get within the ArcGIS as he's talked about. So you're looking at issues to deal with mapping, content management, and of course exploration of data. So you're looking for some different data sets that you need, you could also get them, and many others that we'll be talking about. I want to quickly talk about ArcGIS Desktop that most of us have used or are using. How many are using ArcGIS for desktop? 3/4 of the room. How many are using ArcMap? The same numbers. How many are using ArcGIS Pro? That's a sixth or an eighth of the room. Which is interesting. ArcGIS Desktop, as I've said, is that application that we've used forever. That's where all of us have started using GIS, and it's still that very powerful application that we have for our GIS. We author all the stuff, all our GIS content, be it data creation, data management, and even creating our beautiful maps from ArcGIS for desktop. And I would like to mention that, to repeat, mentioning or remind you of ArcGIS Pro, that again is another application that we have on top of the applications that we have within ArcGIS for desktop. Of course, you know the other applications, ArcMap, ArcCatalog. Which one else? Okay. On top of all those other ones, we also have ArcGIS Pro that James has just talked about. And he's given it a lot of description that it's the new child in the block, very fast 64-bit processing, does both 2D and 3D, so you don't need ArcMap and ArcGlobe working with them differently. You all have that within the same application. And it's fully WebGIS compliant. That is, it's WebGIS already, so you don't have to do anything on it. And of course, now we have the latest version 2.0, which has a lot of improvements in it. And this ideally is one application that I would like you to, immediately after this, to try it. The best way, I was taught that the best way to understand something is to try it. Yes. Just have to do it for you to be sure that you really understand it. If you don't, then you really don't. It's different from students who cram. You know cramming? Yes. I deal with some students, and during the exam day, they are very sharp because they give you all the answers exactly as you gave them from the notes. But after that, they don't remember anything, which I think is really weird and funny. But that's not the stuff that I'm talking about. I'm talking about you making use of it, trying it, and you'll realize that it's a great application. Just thinking quickly about data management and editing functionality within it, be it you're working with the versions, the versioning, and all that within ArcGIS Pro. You could do that very easily. You're doing your 2D and 3D editing all at the same time, working on your topologies, geocoding, and even workflow management using tasks and task assistants and many others. These are really very great tools that I really highly recommend that you try it out. Yesterday, I think I mentioned that, and some guys were like, okay, so what do you mean? Okay, I mean that you have additional application to what you have. So you buy your ArcGIS for desktop, but you also get ArcGIS Pro. That we highly recommend that. It's just the same way that you buy ArcGIS for desktop, but you also give you entitlement for ArcGIS Online. So apart from the entitlement for ArcGIS Online, we also give you ArcGIS Pro on top of it. It's just like you go to buy unga in Kenya and you're given sugar plus milk without paying anything, which is nice. And so these two are two great applications that you might want to try them as soon as we leave here. But before really you get the reason why I'm enticing you to do so, I'll ask Laban to show us some few things about ArcGIS Pro, and I believe you'll be happy or converted after that. Laban, please.
Yeah, thank you, Clifford. Thank you, Clifford. What we are seeing here is the first thing you see when you open ArcGIS Pro. So for the people who've used it before, you might be familiar with this, but if you've never, this is what you'll see the first time you open ArcGIS Pro. And if you use the ArcMap, then you remember the catalog window. So now what replaces that is the catalog pane. And it also gives you an insight into how ArcGIS Pro works. So in ArcMap, you are used to like working with one map at a time. So you'd open like many ArcMap instances, and maybe if you're working on different maps within a project, you'd work on those maps with all the instances open. With ArcGIS Pro, the focus shifts towards a project base. So you can have one project and have several maps. So for example, in this catalog pane, you can see I'm looking at a particular project, and there's a number of elements in the project. So for example, I could have a look at maps. So you can see there's different maps within the project, there's different maps, and you can go through them. On the same project, you're working with different databases. So you could have, perhaps you're working with a file database, and you're also working with shape files, and that sort of thing. You could also be creating different types of map printouts, so you're using layouts. So you could have different layouts, and just have them within the same project. So you could be working on one project and have all your maps in one particular location. So the thing about, once again, also folders. Yeah, so you could be working with different folders. So the thing about ArcGIS Pro is that it's very tied into what James talked about, which was the enterprise. So once you open ArcGIS Pro, you are immediately ushered into the enterprise. So you're working with a named identity. So as you can see at the top here, I've signed in as a member of a particular portal. So the portal is what interfaces you with the whole GIS setup. So you get into the GIS setup using your named identity. And that works the same for desktop. So you're not really bothered with having to sign in and sign out. Immediately you get in, you're already there. So you can see my profile is here. In case you're a member of many portals, maybe portal for ArcGIS or ArcGIS Online, you can actually manage these portals and switch in between them using this particular switch over here. So I could be working on while being in one portal and maybe need to switch to the next, and all I need to do is come in here and sign in. So one other thing that James showed us earlier was the ribbon interface. So what does this interface at the top, this area around here, what does that remind you of? Does it remind you of Microsoft Office or Microsoft Word, Excel? And that's the same kind of idea that ArcGIS is leaning towards. So the ribbon reacts intuitively to what you've clicked. So for example, let's open one of these maps. So this is a map of building footprints, and I've clicked on a particular layer, the building footprints layer. And immediately, you can see at the top here, there's something written feature layer. And now, just because I've clicked there, I'm able to control the appearance of that particular layer. I'm able to double click on something here and change the symbology. I'm able to have a go at the labeling of that particular layer, as well as have a look at the data. Now if I click on, say, map, then you can see the ribbon reacts intuitively to what I've clicked. And that leads me directly to the things that pertain to a map, which is like exploring, changing of extents, and so on and so forth. So basically, the ribbon tries to anticipate what you want to do by what you've clicked. So it's very intuitive in that way. No longer do you have to work with toolbars and pull them out, drag them in, or remove them. It will react to what you're doing at that particular moment. So one of the big things that people do in ArcMap, or in the current setting that we're doing, that people work with, that is ArcMap, is editing. So in this particular scenario, I'm assuming the personality of GIS officer attached to Ministry of Urban Housing and Planning. And what's happening here is people are digitizing building footprints. So digitizing building footprints will require you to have some imagery in the background. So you could have your own imagery, or you could go ahead and use the imagery that's provided by Esri, which is the World Imagery Base Map. So in this case, I'm digitizing using the World Imagery Base Map, and I'm digitizing the area around this particular hotel, the Hyatt Regency. So I'm going to go ahead and see how easy editing is within ArcGIS Pro. So I'm interested in a particular building. I'm going to go ahead and zoom into that particular building. So this is the building, and I want to digitize this building. So how is editing made easier? So number one, like I said earlier, when I click on a particular layer, the ribbon reacts to it. So what I want to do is to go ahead and edit. So I'm going to go ahead and edit, and I could just go ahead and edit like I did earlier in ArcMap, but I have something to help me now in ArcGIS Pro, and that's the grid feature. So this grid feature allows me to, especially for objects that have linear edges, allows me to do editing really easily. So for example, if I put the grid on and allow something called snapping, which actually existed in ArcMap as well, I'm able to go ahead and make an edit really quick, having one hand on the mic and the other on the mouse. So I'm able to click on building footprints, and as long as I'm on the edge of a grid, I can click a point and it snaps to the grid. So this makes editing a lot easier than it's been. And just like that, I'm able to do a really quick edit and go ahead and allow and save it. So I could go ahead and save this. So that's pretty easy. As long as, the good thing about this grid is that it's not particularly fixed. So if I want to edit, say, this particular building over here, you can see the grid doesn't work with it. What I can do is just hover over here, pick this, make a particular point over there, and then using this, I'm able to twist the grid to fit to where I want. And since I have snapping enabled, then I'll be able to use the grid just to make an edit as I did earlier. So I'm going to put this off. Now I want to edit my attributes. So I can go ahead and click the attribute table over here, just like we did in ArcMap, and put in some details about the building. So I'm going to call this building building L, and I'm going to give it a height. I'm going to give it a height floor-wise, so let's say 6. And just like that, I can go ahead and save my edit. Now once my edit is saved, then I can go ahead and continue making other edits. Let me just clear that. So using such kind of tools makes editing a lot easier. And one thing that ArcGIS Pro excels in is also that it's able to work in 3D. So I've edited something over here in 2D, and I have the same exact scenario in 3D. So actually what I edited is this right here. You can see building L and the height of 6. So I just edited it, and now I'm able to see it in 3D. So 3D works the same as 2D. So you're able to make edits also in 3D. So right now, as a member of the Urban Housing and Planning, I'm having a look at the kind of data that I've been working with. I'm able to move around, change perspective, as well as direction. But what I'm really interested in, I've noticed that this building over here has a flat roof, but it's supposed to be slanting on both sides. So maybe a raised middle and slanting on both sides. So can I do anything in 3D in ArcGIS Pro? Yes, you can. And how do I do this? Exactly the same way. So you come back to edit, but in this particular case, what I'm doing is I'm actually modifying an existing building. So what I'll do is I'll click modify. I want to play around with the vertices, and I'm asked to select a feature. So I'm going to go ahead and select this feature, and that's what I'm interested in. And once I've selected this feature, I can go ahead and start making edits. So the first thing I'm going to do is split this particular building, then come to the middle, once I'm at the middle, I can go ahead and actually, let me just position myself well. Once I'm at the middle, and I've bisected it, let me just change perspective. Just change a bit. Alright, let me just undo that. Undo that edit, and try that again. I'm on vertices. I can actually move a bit of this image and edit it as it might need to be edited. Sorry about that. Let me just work with that. Exactly. So that's actually what I'm going to do. Sorry. So yeah, I've been able to raise the roof and slant it on both sides. And once I'm done, I can go ahead and click OK. And you can see that the edit has been made. So I'm going to go ahead and save that and save the edits. And let me clear that. So it's easy, as you have seen while I was working, it's a bit easy to get disoriented while working in 3D. And that's why using this view tab on the ribbon over here, I'm able to add something called a navigator. So when I click on the navigator, this allows me to edit past, to move past, to move along my scene. And you can see I'm moving towards different directions, almost like I'm driving through using a steering wheel. But you might want to change perspective, and using this little button over here, I'm able to change perspective on this and move in different directions. These buildings don't look very realistic, but I'm very glad to tell you that in one of the next sessions that we're going to have, you're going to see actual, very realistic visuals of 3D using a product named City Engine. So using this, you're able to actually move around the map. But perhaps you want a predefined tour 3D scene. How can you achieve this? You can achieve this using the animation tab that you see at the top here. So I'm clicking on animation. You can create an animation, one scene by another, or you could make use of something that we used to use in ArcMap, or we still use in ArcMap, known as bookmarks. So you could come back to the animation tab and actually import bookmarks as a fly-through. So I'm going to go ahead and click on bookmarks to fly through. And what that does is that it creates a timeline. And this timeline adds all the bookmarks in the particular, sequence that you added them into a sort of fly-through. So for each one of these, there's a particular length. So in this, by default, it's 3 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to 5 seconds so that we can go ahead and see how the fly-through looks. So changing this to 5 seconds. Once I'm done, I can go ahead and play the fly-through. So this is basically the bookmarks being run in succession as for what I was digitizing. So an aerial view. And back to where we were when we started. So this is really nice, and you might want to share this with someone for maybe building estate that you're working with, but he doesn't have ArcGIS Pro. How can you share this with this particular person? You can share this using the movie option over here. So you can send him a movie, you can export it as a movie on YouTube or Vimeo, or you can even send it as a GIF or GIF or GIF, or whatever the kids call it, and share it to them so that they can have a look at it and enjoy what you've been working with. So ArcGIS Pro is not only about 3D, that's not the big thing. It also excels in some of the things that you've been used to working with. So for example, labeling. So in this particular case, I have a map of building footprints, and on top of the building footprints, symbolization of water meters. So I want to go ahead and label this, and like novice, I'm just going to go ahead and click on label, just like we normally do. But unfortunately, it's a bit muddled, so I can go ahead and zoom in to a better scale. So this particular scale, I can see, okay, this is great, I can work with this, but unfortunately, a lot of these labels are the same because they're based on something I'm not so sure about. So, like I said earlier, if I click on the particular layer, I can actually intuitively see labeling at the top. When I click on labeling, I can see this is based on the feature ID, and maybe I want to change that. But I could do the simple thing and click on the particular item that I'm interested in, but I want us to see a new development in terms of labeling in ArcGIS. And I'm going to click on the expression option over here. And as usual, from ArcMap, we've been using VB to make unique kind of labels. But I'd like to introduce you to something new within the ArcGIS Enterprise called Arcade. So Arcade is a new expression language that allows us to do powerful labeling and symbolizing. So for example, right now I want to label this based on the meter number. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and pick meter number. So that's okay. If I apply, that's good. But that's normal. What if I wanted something a bit different? So I want to get the meter number, and at the same time, below the meter number, I want the reference of the property number. So using a bit of expression language, I'm going to pick this in my expression class. I can go ahead and apply that. And just like that, we're able to see, okay, great. I have my labels, now I have the meter number and the property reference below it. However, one thing I noticed is that some of the meters don't really have a number. The number is specified as 0. So maybe I want to specify the label, but I want to make sure that there's no meter number that has 0 in it. So what I'm going to do is write another expression. Yes, I wrote them beforehand. This is not cheating. We actually wrote them. So, and it's not that long, just that it takes time to type. So I'm going to go ahead and anywhere where there's 0, the meter number is going to be null. So I'm going to check the expression, see it's valid, and do the same thing. So now wherever there's no meter, the meter number doesn't appear. So I'm able to put some sort of logic to my labeling. Perhaps I want to do other types of logic, like I want a meter number that's been paid to be green and one that's not paid to be red. You can do an expression for that as well. So I'm just going to copy an expression for that. Sorry, just copy an expression for that. And as you can see, the expressions are not that long. It's just applying a bit of logic to your expression. So checking the validity. And once again, we have the same kind of effect. So where there's no, in this particular case, where there's no meter, it's an unknown meter. Where it's been paid, it's green. Where it's not been paid, it's red. So finally, perhaps you're not really interested in all the fancy stuff like that. Maybe you just want a meter and the units that have been consumed by the meter. So you can go ahead and do that as well. And write an expression for that. So check validity, apply. Let's do that again. Just copy that again. Oh, sorry, I think I know what the problem is. I'll have to take this one in. So let me take this out and type this in. This works. Check this width. Sorry about that. I'm looking for someone who hasn't paid bills. We'll have to sort this out later. It kind of kills the momentum. Because the idea is, what's special about Arcade is that even though you might have been able to do this using VB script and having to write a lot more VB script, what you aren't able to do is transfer the labeling that you've created onto your other platforms. And that's what Arcade is able to do. So the script I'd written was for units and meter numbers. So the same type of script works the same for ArcGIS Online. Now, which means that once I write my script here in ArcGIS Pro, and I go ahead and publish like James published, then it appears the same, exactly the same in ArcGIS Online. So in that case, if you come to labels, you're actually able to see that particular expression. So you can see the expression over here. It's basically the same expression. Going back to our demos, another thing that works with ArcGIS Pro is scale ranges. So you'll notice that if you had one feature layer that had to be symbolized differently for various individual values, then you needed to replicate that value, that particular layer, many times, and then apply scale dependencies on the other layers so that you're able to see the same feature many times. Well, that's different now in ArcGIS Pro. You're actually able to go ahead and zoom into different levels and have exactly the same, work with the same feature layer and symbolize differently. So for example, you can see I started off with airport, and you can see that table of contents is reacting to what I'm zooming into. So if I zoom into a bus station scale, I have a lot more things happening over here on the same layer. And the same for the booking scale. I'm able to zoom in, have some apply labels, others not, using the same layer. And that works because of this particular tab over here called a scale range view, where you're able to use unique values and apply different scale symbologies for same. So I'm going to try and almost finish here. One other thing that ArcMap has been known for many times is creating maps to print. So ArcGIS Pro allows you to create a layout and a map view at the same time within the same project. Whereas in ArcMap, you needed to switch between data view and layout view. So here I have a layout view, and you can see some of the elements react very dynamically. So for example, in this particular legend, you can see it only shows features that are visible. So if I was to uncheck that, then you'll see that the legend continues, it grows to the things that were not being seen. So I can leave that there to only things that are being seen. Something else that people have been using in ArcMap is grids, and that's a new feature in ArcGIS Pro 2.0, where you're able to go ahead and add grids. Thank you, Clifford. Right before we continue from where we left off, we're able to fix the labeling class, the labeling expression. So here it is, and this is how it's supposed to appear. And basically, one thing I wanted to mention is that ArcGIS Pro also saves what you've been doing, like a process that you run. So as you can see, I had a share expression map, which was shared a few days ago, which is basically this. And you're able to tell which way it was published and how it appears. So basically what I wanted to say is that Arcade, unlike what we've been using so far in ArcMap VB script, where you're only able to label on the map itself on ArcMap, the expression transfers to the web, mobile, and all these things. So you write the expression once, you label it once, and you're able to see it across the platform. So back to the layouts, and we were talking about grids. So basically you're able to add a grid in the layout in ArcGIS Pro, which was not possible a few months earlier. And one key thing is the print functionality of ArcGIS Pro. If you remember in ArcMap, when you're printing and you had a base map, you needed to specify a very high DPI, and even if you did specify a high DPI, your map background would not appear as clear. So in ArcGIS Pro, this has been taken care of. So if I choose to print to PDF, let's say a landscape, go ahead and print. Well, what happens is, let me just give it a name. Street map. Oh, street. Can go ahead and print that. So it takes a few seconds. And basically what it's doing is that it's compiling the map into a PDF, but a really highly like vectorized version, such that even if you zoomed in, you're able to get a very good visual. So let's go to the map over here. This is the Wali street map. And so it looks like this at this particular level, but let's zoom into something as much as 400%. So all the vector stuff remains impeccable. But what's impressive is the base map. So this was actually a base map at the background. So you can see even at 400%, if you went ahead to 800, it's almost like you had the base map at that particular level. Whereas if you did this in ArcMap, you'd find it very glitchy. So finally, our last thing is for a lot of people might be having a problem seeing maybe in this particular layout, and perhaps you want a different kind of option. So this is fixed using this particular option. We have a light option, but we also have a dark option. And this allows you to see ArcGIS Pro in a different light. So you can work with both. You can work with both kinds of scenarios. If you're a light person, or not light, if you like, if you like light surfaces, you can use this. And yeah, for the people who like dark backgrounds, you can go ahead and use this. So I'd like to hand over to Cliff. Thank you.
Well, if you're a dark person, then you could use the light background and the reverse true. I think that's nice. How many people at least now understand what ArcGIS Pro is from what has been presented? Great. At least there's a great number of conversion, and that's nice. The presentation bore some fruits, which is good. And as I said, the best way to actually determine whether this is great, as we are saying, is to try to do it. Just get it. With your named users, just download it and sign in with your named users. That's your license. You don't need to get a license from us to use it. That's it. As simple as that. So, oh, that was ArcGIS Pro. So, I mean, the next thing that I would like to talk about very fast, and we would like to see, is about field. I emphasized much about field mobility. One, how you collect the data in the field. We have different applications or apps that run on our devices for the field. James talked about Explorer. That is one app that you could use for the field. We also have others. We have others including Workforce. And Workforce is really very interesting, as we'll be seeing, in that it makes the field work to be very easy, in that from the operation management, I'm sitting in the office, I could assign tasks to guys in the field, collaborate with them, get feedback from them, and also get the tasks done and the report in real time. So I don't really have to wait for them to come after a week or 2 weeks or 1 month before they tell us that, hey, you know, I went to such a place 3 weeks ago and I was not able to do anything. We get it in real time. And that's really a very nice application that we have. On the other hand, we also have Collector and Survey 1 to 3 that you guys have some of you have used before. And Collector help us to collect our XY or vector data, point lines, polygon easily, and some of our few attributes that we need. It's for our professional kind of work, data collection day to day. On the other hand, we also have Survey 123, that is more form centric. The guys who do a lot of surveys or ask a lot of, have a lot of questionnaires in the field, and they need a lot of questions to be answered. Some of them are logical. Do you have children? Yes. Then the next question could be how many? Or do you have children? No. Then there's no next question. You get those kind of forms. So that's exactly what Survey 123 does, and of course adds location. And we've seen a lot of guys getting into this. I love a story that I heard from some guy from Uganda. I've forgotten the name. It's a USAID kind of project. Uganda, and they use a lot of Survey 123. I'm not sure they're in the room. Yes, it's the room. The guy in the white Science of Wear t-shirt. So they're actually taking advantage of Survey 123 in a big way, and I like that. And of course, we also have a navigator, which from the name just helps you to move from point A to point B. And all these apps, they're all together, they're all integrated in that you could use all of them in one workflow at the same time. You get tasks assigned to you by your boss or by the project manager from the office using Workforce. You use Navigator to move from that point, from where you are to where the assignment is, and you use Collector of Survey 123 to do the task, and finally use Workforce to report. And also Navigator Explorer to actually get content of all your organization stuff. I mean, these are very great applications that you might not want to miss. And at the end of the day, the fieldwork has to be efficient and also cost effective, or effective by all means. And these are the apps that help us to do this work. The last thing that I would like to mention about these apps, apart from the fact that they run from our common operating systems, iOS, Android, and Windows. Just looking at the mobile guide to confirm that Windows. I'm always not sure about Windows because I don't like it, but fine. And Windows, I think so. Anthony, Windows. But the other point is about working online and offline at the same time. And I think that's very important because initially when like Collector came and the guys were like, most of the places there are no connectivity. But yes, we agree there are not connectivity in very many places, not only in Africa, even in the developed, in the first worlds. Second one, yeah, in the first worlds. And so you could do a lot of offline work, and then once you get connectivity either back to the office or back where there is a hotspot, you could still, or where you have the GSM coverage, you could still synchronize back to the office. Of course, you don't have to wait for 3 months in the field or 1 month in the field or a whole week in the field before you submit your work. I'm going to invite Anthony Gakobo to actually show us some of this stuff so that we believe fully what I'm talking about. Karibu, Anthony.
Thank you very much, Clifford. My name is Anthony, and I'm going to take you through the applications or mobile application for the field. The past speakers have shown you different applications, but my interest here today is to show you the various applications that we have for the field, and more specifically using the mobile devices or the smartphones. So just to take you through very fast, once you go to the arcgis.com, that is the homepage of the ArcGIS, you have the opportunity of exploring to the apps for everyone. And this is where now down the apps for everyone, you get all these. So you can see all the applications for the field, the connector for ArcGIS, the navigator, the explorer, the dashboard are there. And the workforce for ArcGIS and Survey 123. today I want us to concentrate so much on 3 of them. We'll use the workforce for ArcGIS, which is here. That's how the workforce for ArcGIS works. And then we'll see how it is integrated with the other applications and how it works. So for today's application, I'm going to take an organization. The advantage is that we are in Dar es Salaam and they are here. The National Bureau of Statistics. And actually I can see their banner there. Even their mission is to produce quality official statistics and services that meets needs of blah 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 blah. They have there. But all the national statistics offices in the whole world, they are mandated to, after some 5 or 10 years, to collect their statistic data for the country. So what we are doing with the NBS, and so it is happening in Kenya with the KNBS, they are using workforce, one, to manage their projects, to manage their workforce, that is all the workers, and to monitor the progress of whatever is happening. So the moment you open the workforce, the homepage for the workforce, you get my project. Now what is happening in front of you is that I have some projects that we have been working with the NBS, which will form the basis of my demo. And if you look at this point here, I'm logged in because I'm a member of the National Bureau of Statistics, Tanzania. And that's why now I'm able to kind of deal with the organization. So, because of time, what we'll do, I will just take you through the project that's already created. But for instance, if it was a new, or you wanted to make a new project, you start with create projects. Once you press the create project, it allows you to fill in the names and then what type of projects, some description and all that, and then configure the projects. So I have the project for specifically for this demo. You can see when I hover around this project here, it has the open project, configure project, and delete project. So before you start and after creating the project, it's important that you configure the project. So I want to take you through the configuring this project so that I show you how we are going to integrate survey 123, corrector for ArcGIS, and the navigator using the workforce. So you'll find that these mobile applications, they are interlinked, they are interlaced, they are intertwined, and they are interrelated. But each can work independently. But the beauty of workforce is that it harnesses all these three applications, and not only the applications themselves, even the workers. So there is a workers from the manager or the supervisor, so you can dispatch the work. You can actually have the workers doing specific work using a specific application, so that, and even a specific location. So somebody doesn't just assign themselves work, or just maybe you're supposed to be in Dar es Salaam and you're working in Dodoma and you just find that you're supposed to be working. So it allows all those three aspects, and also monitoring where the workers are and the progress. So if I press the configure here, so you can see that the configure has the overview, the assignment types, the users, and the advanced. So the assignment types is where you create the type of assignment that will be worked on. And you can see I have some specific assignment like create and editing EAs. For those who don't know, EAs are the enumeration areas. Because in the process of census, it's a process. Like now, National Bureau of Statistics will have their census in 2022. and they have already started preparing. Because the first preparation is the pre-enumeration, which involves creating the enumeration areas, and then there is the actual enumeration of what we call the census ourselves, and then there is the post-enumeration where now the statistics are done. So here you create the types of the assignments. So like I have the creating and editing the EAs. There is the household pre-enumeration because we also have kind of a pre-test before the actual enumeration. And then the verification of enumeration areas, which can be done by different supervisors and also some of the workers. Then we have the users. In our organization, which is National Bureau of Statistics, you can see that we have already a working organization, which we have tried to customize so that it looks and it has the feel of our organization. We have members of this organization, whether we want the DG, the directors, and the statisticians, and the enumerators to be in this. But during our project, here, the users, it's only the users that I want to be involved in the project. So, these users, as you can see myself, I'm there, I'm a dispatcher, and I am also a mobile worker. I have Benedict Mugambi, unfortunately he's not in, but these are true names, they are not imaginary names. I have Clifford, who was also a worker to help with the working in the field. I have Mahemba, I think he was allowed, he's not there. So basically these are the teams that I have selected from the main organization so that they can be able to work. And look here, the workforce helps you to actually assign laws. We have two laws at the moment. We have the law of the dispatcher and we have the law of the mobile worker. So the dispatcher has a superior law because it is able to dispatch work. So more or less if you look at it like the supervisor or the directors and all that. So if for instance you are a supervisor of a group, you become a dispatcher. And if you are junior to the supervisor, then you are a worker. So that is how workforce now helps me to organize, or rather help us to organize our work on the users. But the most important part is the advanced tab here. Because workforce helps us beforehand to actually integrate. You can see here we have the application or the app integration, and we have location tracking. So when I expand the app integration here, this is where I mentioned that you have the opportunity of integrating the applications that you want to use. You have 3 applications on top of Workforce. In this exercise, we are using the navigator for ArcGIS. Basically, the navigator takes you, it just navigates you to the site. So if, for instance, you're a worker, I don't even have to explain to you where you're supposed to go. As long as we have configured, you have downloaded and logged in using your ArcGIS organization account, and you have the navigator on your devices, then it is supposed to navigate you, it's supposed to take you through. Then we have the connector for ArcGIS, and this, you can actually give people work or assign work assignments based on what they want to do. In our case, we felt that we need the connector for ArcGIS because we want to do enumeration, create enumeration areas. So we are going to use the connector for ArcGIS for creating the enumeration areas. We also have the survey 1, 2, 3 because we are going to do our enumeration using the form-centric application. So what Clifford just mentioned about asking logical questions which have location, skipping the questions that are not needed, and therefore synchronizing everything either offline and online to the crowd or the portal, organization portal, so you don't have to come and start keying in data after the field. And even if you are working in areas with network difficulties, you can do the offline mode. Then once you are in your maybe regional headquarters where they have network or in a hotel, then you can synchronize everything later. So we also have the location tracking. This one helps us to track our workers. So if you are still at home and you are lying that, or rather sitting down at a sycamore tree somewhere, and you are just cooking data, we can be able to see that. We can be able to track you. Other than just the location itself, we can be able to track you, and we might see that in a moment. So basically, that is what entails configuration of the workforce, which is very much important. So once I go back to the overview of that, for this project at a glance, you can see I have 9 users, 7 mobile workers, and 2 dispatchers. You can see I have 8 assignments, 1 is completed, 6 assigned, and 1 unassigned. So in fact, if you're just sharing this with your manager or your director, at a glance you can just see this, that this is exactly the status of our project. And we have 2 things also to remember, that we have the mobile 2 maps, 2 types of maps, the dispatcher's map and the worker's map. This is differentiate what the mobile worker is supposed to see, and you as the dispatcher, what you're supposed to see. So you can either have one just viewing the topographic map, or another one viewing the satellite map, or just locking them to see just a specific area where maybe the project is covering. So you can configure the maps so that if they are outside the scope of the project, then they don't see anything, or they are not able to use the application. Then now, from here, after you are happy and you have configured your project, what you do is just open. Just open the project. I think I had opened the project here. So once you open the project, there it is. On my left side, we have now the same assignment. You can see the household, pre-enumeration, and whatever is happening, verification. And you can see that when you are assigning work, you can alert the person whether it is critical, whether it is just normal. So let us just assign one of it so that we can see the process. So remember, we created the assignments at the top, this assignment type. And now, when you are on the application itself, the field applications, using the workforce, you want now to start assigning. So I assign like this, and the logic behind you creating the assignments beforehand is because you can see this as matrix. This is compulsory. So you take the assignment that were created. Remember, we had about 3 assignments. There is one for creating and editing EAs. There is household enumeration, and there is the verification of the EAs. Suppose I just assume that I want to give one of my workers the work of verifying. So meaning that there are those guys who are creating the EAs, and what I want is to just verify. So I put that. Then it asks you search for an address or click the location. So you want this person to be specific on what they are doing. Remember, I said that the workforce helped me to make sure that guys don't just create their own imaginary assignment and they just fill in forms or collect data and say that they are working. So maybe I want allow this. I can see a park here. So if I press on the map, there is this blue thing here. But again, if you know the specific area with the names, because remember, the base map that you are seeing here is the ArcGIS online map, similar to Google Map. So it has address. So if, for instance, you know the location in terms of roads and the buildings that are existing, you can search from here. And you can see even here they search for an address. So if you press this, it allows you to type in. So you don't even have to zoom in using the map. You can just use your search and you get that. But for now, let us just be happy with that. And then at that point, you can assign it to somebody. And then once you say assign, you can see that the list of the people who are involved in the project. This is not the list of people in the organization, but it is the list of people who are in the project. I showed you when you open the project that you have the users. So you invite or you have your users who are supposed to be working on this project. So for instance, I can see Clifford is just next to me, and he's part of the work I remember. So I will assign this to him. And then once you have that, Workforce allows you to give the due date. So that once you receive the work as a mobile worker, you will see the due date for that assignment. So the conference is ending on Friday, so we can say that we need that assignment to be done by Friday. And again, it goes on, you can even have the time, 9:30, I want this completed. And then the ID is to allow you to search jobs or track jobs using ID. So maybe in your organization you have created some ID for jobs. So this one I can call it number 500. You can call it 1, 2, 3, up to 5. And then you can give the description for that assignment. Because what the Workforce is helping you, we don't need to go or report to the office in the morning to be assigned job. You only need to have your mobile applications. You only need to have your mobile applications getting access to the internet. You log into Workforce in the morning or whatever time, and from there you get the alert of whatever you have been assigned. And even if you are in the field and I assign you more work, you will get the alert. So you give the description. I want you to verify this. Verify this area, blah blah blah. You can give a description there. Then you can see this one is now active, and I say create assignment. So the moment assignment is successfully created, as you can see there, and it is assigned to Clifford or Kimbo. Clifford is supposed to log in on his mobile device, and then because he's among our workers, he's belonging to our organization, he's going to use the credentials of our organization, NBS, hyphen, --. And after that, he's supposed to get the alert of that assignment using the Workforce. So I will show you that on a mobile phone. So back to this assignment, I want to show you that something different. I had assigned some work to Gasto. Gasto is not in today, but he's a member of NBS, an actual worker. It's not an imaginary worker. It's not an imaginary worker, sorry. Then we have Mahemba. I mentioned about him and myself. But what I want you to see from here, you can see my name, AG Anthony Gakofo, is having a green circle. Why? Because I am logged in using my mobile phone. So but at a glance, I can see who is already logged in. If you complete, if you're working, I can be able to see, because we'll see different colors of people when are working. And when you complete an assignment, you will see a different type of color, or the circle will change. It will be solid green. So like now, down here, you see this solid green here. It's completed. And if you touch on this, it takes you to where the assignment was. So I have done this assignment on purpose so that you can see that allowed here is green, just to show you the different type of color codes and the way the symbols will change differently. So you can see that like that was household pre-enumeration, and it was completed by Anthony Gakofo, and they actually gave the date. It was completed on September 29, just before we came. So now, what I want to do, I want to show you the actual mobile application, because I think that's where the cream is. So the mobile application looked like this, for those who have not used it. So we have some applications here that help you to link the mobile phone and the screen. I think Laban, you're going now to pay back what somebody did for you. So now you can see that is now my phone. What you're seeing on the screen is my phone. if I can minimize this so that we can have. So what you're seeing there, that's a Tecno C9, is my phone. So what I'll do, I'll just log to my phone. This is now my mobile phone. It's already connected now to the workforce. So the workforce is installed. You can see the workforce here. Yeah, the workforce is installed. These guys want to spoil our day with the WhatsApp. So this is the workforce. So because it's already started, you can start it from here. And maybe I forgot to mention to you that if you go to the Play Store or the Apple Store, you are able to download the workforce, the survey 123, the corrector for ArcGIS for free. But you need an organization account or your free account that you are trying with, just a public account, just to be able to access it. So you can be able to do so many things using the public account that you created. So once you start your workforce, the workforce looks like this. You can be able to see that now, this is not Clifford, this is me. I have two assignments, create and editing EAs at Karota Street, and then there is a household pre-enumeration areas. So one, what happened with the corrector for ArcGIS? I mentioned that you tie the assignment with the application that is needed. Meaning that, for instance, if I want to work with the household pre-enumeration areas, one of the things that I do is to click on the project, right? Now, the project opens and there is a button here, that one. It has start, finish, and decline. So I can be assigned and I can also decline. But I have to tell my supervisor or my dispatcher why I declined. The work is too much, or I'm not feeling well, no, I'm visiting the clinic or the dentist. So you have to give all that. But for this case, I want to start the work. So I will start the work, I'll start the work. And what will happen is, you see the symbol has changed. And if I go back to the application itself, around here, I think I put both of them on so that we can be seeing anything that is changing. So that one, sorry, that's something. Laban mentioned about the simplicity of working with only a microphone and two hands. Now, I can work now from here. So I can also make some notes from here, maybe for supervisor. I am working, but it is leaning. Working, but it is leaning, but it is reading, so that my supervisor will not ask me why are you taking too long to finish this. So now, at the top here, I hope you are seeing the mobile phone. Are you able to follow the mobile phone? Yeah. So I say, look at that, survey at assignment. Now, the beauty of the three, I don't know where I call it, Trinity, for those who profess the same faith like I do, we talk about the Holy Trinity, God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So these applications are also tied. So like this assignment, because it was an enumeration, it is using survey 1 to 3. So what will happen is, the moment I say survey at assignment, look at what is happening. Automatically, it opens the survey 1 to 3. So the worker is not supposed to be imagining which application I'm going to use. When your supervisor is assigning you work, he or she specifies that this is going to use survey 1 to 3 because it's enumeration. This is going to use corrector for ArcGIS because it's creating the enumeration areas. So you can see that the workforce helps you to manage not only your workers, but also the applications and the assignments. So like you can see, the Republic of Tanzania 2017 pilot census short questionnaire. For those who have ever been involved in the census process, there is a short questionnaires and there is the long questionnaire. Short questionnaire is what they do when they are doing the pre-enumeration, and then the long questionnaire is what they do during the census night. So we are going to just use this for demo, but remember, we are also showing you the beauty of this application. Look at that, you're able to configure your application so that it has the feel of the organization. So everybody here who is coming from any organization or private companies, you can be able to customize your application so that they have the feel and the look of the organization. And now, survey 1 to 3, as those who are able to use it even at the beginning of the year, it is now allowing us to have our pages, our forms in pages, so that you don't have to scroll long pages, long forms. So you can see the 3 dots, the 4 dots are up there. The green one symbolizes the current page. So I'll just go to the next page, like this, and we have customized this to have the identification of our area in terms of region. We're in Dar es Salaam. Now, I'm not going to take you through this because you will see this during the technical plenary. I think from tomorrow, there will be the creation of the survey 1 to 3 itself, how this form came to be. Not necessarily this one, but the process of creating the form. So during the technical plenary, you will be taken through the process of doing that. But the beauty of this is, once you select, for instance, region of Dar es Salaam, anything that is after that, the districts that are ready there are only for Dar es Salaam. So if you select a different region, you only get a district for that. If you want to go up to the village level, because you can prepare your form in a priori, so that you are specific to what you want. So for instance, I just picked that at random. I didn't have all the names of the word, and that is why I didn't put them here, but you can be able to configure that. So we can just call this is word yetu, just the name, yetu, my friend, so it is Google, yetu, what is yetu? The village we can call this the Kwetu, like that. And the EA from what they are configuring their form, they have numbers. So I just give some numbers, like that. And then, because this form allows me to do so many things, I'm done with that. Then I go to the next page. I think what we need to understand and what is so important and unique about the ArcGIS application is the issue of location. We want this person to be specific. You are doing household information and you have visited a household or a homestead. We want to pick that specific location of that homestead, of that household. So the first thing, when we are configuring this application, we did see that that was one of the reasons that we are using the form in terms of the location aware. So you place on the map, and it takes you to where you are. Now, this is because we are here. If we were outside where we have the network and we have enabled our location like this, the GPS locations pick for you the location, the actual location that you are in. Now, I am sure people will ask several questions. If you are area where we don't have network or internet, service providers rather, if we don't have, if you didn't know, all the smartphones, they have an integrated GPS. That's one mode. You can use the device GPS, and the applications allow that. If you want to improve your accuracy, we have this handheld or other GPS. It's called BAD-L GNSS Surveyor. This device is a GPS, a small GPS, that helps you to get the actual GPS from the satellite, and it communicates with your mobile devices using the Bluetooth. So this one gets the GPS location for the device. It will give its location. Therefore, you map using the GPS. It gets you the location, and then give this the location. They communicate using the Bluetooth. Then from there now, you can say, fine, I accept that is where we are, just for the demo purposes. So I say it's okay. Now the location is already captured. So we'll not download the data and then try to say this is the north or the y or the latitude and the longitude. Everybody is mapped. So from there, we go now to the household information. So very fast, I'll say the name of the household member. So I'll say name is Anthony, for instance, and then the relationship. So from the form that I was given to meet what they want, we were duplicating the way the form is. There is a household head, you might be the spouse, the son, and maybe you have the head of that. So the gender, I'm sure I'm male, and then enter the the date of birth. It can be year or date of birth. For this simplicity of this, I'll not tell you the actual age that I am, but I'll just pick a lot of age. Yeah, I'm older than that. But then, look, once you have that, does the named person have any disability? I want you to observe what will happen in the next page. I will say no. If I say no and I go to the next page, there's nothing. So that's why Clifford was mentioned that it is logical. If the question, you don't have to keep asking somebody, are you married? Then they tell you no. So if they tell you no, you don't go telling them, do you have children? No, you just keep that question. So I go back. Well, I'm talking about, okay, you may have children even if you're not married, but I'm just simulating that. Somebody is listening around here. It was just an example. So let me go back again and say that this person has disability. And then we see the logical part of it. So if I say yes, and we go to the next page, look at what is happening. It's the same application, it's the same form. But then it is allowing you to actually capture the disabilities. Select the type of disability. So if, for instance, albinism, seeing, hearing, walking, blah, 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 all those disabilities. So for instance, if you go to seeing, again, it will give you a list of other level of difficulties. No difficulty, some difficulty, a lot of difficulties, unable to see, or not applicable. So for instance, unable to see, and then you can have several of these people. And then once you are done with that, just for the demo purposes, we say okay. Now, we have mentioned that survey 123 and even the corrector for ArcGIS allows you to work offline and online. So suppose where I was, I cannot be able to transmit data to the crowd or organization account through internet. Because at this point, it's important that you know you need the internet to be able to sync or synchronize your data using your organization account, whether it is through the portal or through the cloud. So you can send later or send now. So suppose we say send later so that we can see what happens. If I say send later, it takes you back to this survey, short survey question. You can see there is a 2 at the top. That 2 is because there was another assignment I was doing and I did not sync it or synchronize it. So there are 2 in the outbox. If I do like this, and you can see down here, I'm sure you are able to see down, there are 2 outbox here. There's a correct and outbox. Yeah? So what you do, once you go to the area with the internet, you go to the outbox, and you have them there. You can see it started at 5:04 and finished at 5:14. So it is the one that we were doing. This was, I think, yesterday's. And then down there is the send. So I just sent. And because I have internet, I have sent that. So it is sent and it is synchronized. So you see now again, the outbox changes to send. It is not now outbox, it is to send. So that is already synchronized. So let us go to the workforce. Because I am happy I have finished my assignment, what I do again, I go back here and I say finish. Now, before I finish, you can see that there is a pause because you can pause. Maybe you want to take a break like what we did, you can pause that so that your supervisor can see that you have paused, so that they don't ask you for a whole 1 hour, what were you doing? So, but if there is a pause, you can pause and make even some comment. So I just finished that. And once I finish, look at that. So create, it gives some information that it is created, it is finished, and we can be able now to see that on our map. What is this? Did I do something funny? Okay, just trust it. It's okay, I'm trusting it to the computer. But as it is thinking whether it is going to trust it, let's go back to the actual organization. I want you to see from here that this is exactly what we have done right now. There is a 2-day completed, and it's sent at 29, and there is this one now. Which one? So we can zoom to it. Just want to zoom to it so that you can see where the work is. Highlight. So I go to highlight. You can see this is the one that I did yesterday. And I have another one that I have done today. Yes. So you can see that now the supervisor, assuming that now I am also the dispatcher, I am able to have this, and the field guy was using the mobile phone. I can be able to see that even this one, the solid green, I mentioned that about the solid green is an indicator that the work is finished. And if I click on this, I'm supposed to get the information from here. So that's where the assignment was. But then, before I let you go, because of time, what we do, this is now workforce. This is now the workforce environment. Let's go to the organization account itself. And this is now where James mentioned about the organization, he showed you about all this. But I want to go straight to the content so that we can be able to see the same map that I have created from the field, the same map in the office. So from the dispatchers, I can have the map of the dispatcher so that I can be able to see who or what I gave. And from here, this is now the ArcGIS Online. For those who have been hearing the ArcGIS Online for the first time, this is the ArcGIS Online actually. And you can have the portal. If somebody was asking me about security of this online hosting, you can have your own portal actually configured and synchronized using the same. So you can see that we are able to see everything again, and then you can see, this is what I wanted us to appreciate, that I mentioned that you are able to see the workers where they are. Like now you can see the status of what Kobo is working. Why? Because I have logged in using my mobile phone, and I have logged in using, I have been assigned different assignments on the same account, and I'm working. So once you are happy with that, we are not going to go to the next assignment because I think time is not on our side. The next assignment was now to create an EA, where now the EA allows us to use the mobile application called the Connector for ArcGIS, and therefore what we saw using the ArcGIS I mean, survey 1, 2, 3 is the same, but I just want to make you people who have not seen how the connector for ArcGIS look like, just to see on the screen. A lot of technology involved with this to make everything work, but nevertheless we are getting there. Yeah, so what I want you to appreciate is that now all this is what you get. The mobile phone is here again, and the mobile phone allows you to see the connector for ArcGIS and all the assignments that are here. We are not going to use the assignment, to go to the assignment itself, but what I want you to see, or rather I wanted you to see, is the actual connector for ArcGIS in work and how it works. So once you get the connector for ArcGIS, it will open the assignment that was already created for you, and then you can be able now to capture the enumeration area. But I wanted you to see that one of the things that we are so much worried about the creation of enumeration areas, that is from the enumerators concern, is about the accuracy. So down here, you can see there is a red mark here, because they didn't want anything that is less than 3 meters. So the field workers, when they are walking along the field, whatever area they have, if the GPS does not give them anything better than 3 meters, we can even reduce them to 1 meter, because you can, depending on the accuracy that you want. The device will not capture that here, and this LED here will also not allow you to capture the points or the digits to capture your location. So because we are inside, and we are not using, I'm not using this to actually get the GPS. You can see this, the accuracy here is 9.6 meters, and that's why we are not able to get the actual location. So hopefully by tomorrow, when you are having the technical session, everything about the creating, using the connector for ArcGIS, creating the form itself will be demonstrated. But basically, this is now the connector for ArcGIS, and I think for those who will be interested to have more of the tutorial, we can have that tomorrow and the day after tomorrow outside. And thank you.
Thank you, Anthony, for taking us to the field, and we are back from the field. We'll take the next few minutes to finalize everything that you have, so try to be patient. We're moving on very fast to 3D, to show you some few stuff about 3D GIS, how all this is also plugged into our ArcGIS, our WebGIS. Laban mentioned a few stuff about from ArcGIS Pro, but we'll try to do slightly more with City Engine, and of course right from the visualization and from modeling and all that. Well, you know, once you've done a lot of your two-dimensional stuff, then the next thing that remains for a lot of things that we do is to bring the third dimension to your work. Apart from just for visualizations, but there are a lot of other other applications that we have to do with the third dimension that we don't have most of the time in our GIS. And so City Engine and ArcGIS Pro brings that to your day-to-day operation. Of course, the data set that we work with nowadays, most of them are 3D, right from LiDAR data, from data we get from UAV, which I think is another interesting stuff. I'm not sure whether we'll have time to show all that. But I need us to bring that together as we see the 3D environment of our operation. At the same time, something that we've been showing since we started was the use of imagery. And I think we can't do so much without imagery in our work. You might be using it to do your processes, the natural resource guy is doing a lot of land use, land cover, change analysis, and many other things, to everybody else using imagery as a backdrop for every analysis or every operation that you have. And I think you've seen that in the demos. And of course, another interesting thing just to mention is that ArcGIS Esri has been working a lot in the imagery, and now I think for the whole of Africa you have high resolution base map from the Esri imagery up to, I think most of them are less than 5 meters resolution that you could use to do a lot. Probably you can't use it for your surveying the fixed boundaries, probably, but you could still use it for your, they do call it fit for purpose. The land admin guys could use it for that, and others probably not for the utilities where you want to get the exact point of meter line or not a meter line, water line or an electric line. But these are very important and good starting point for your operation, and it serves a lot. I do advise guys that before you probably, it's good to take most of these images that are available probably as base map, or some of them are also available as services, right from what Airbus provides. There's some subscription services for imagery in real time, or after, depending on the schedules that you also agree with them, and gives you that when you need it, plus others that are static or the generic ones that we normally use. And I think there are other providers that do this. Airbus is just an example, but there are also others. So I'll ask Evelyn to summarize because we are tired. But I mean, don't leave because we are tired. Just have that one energy to listen to Evelyn and probably one or more. So Evelyn, kindly take us to the 3D world.
Okay, thank you. My name is Evelyn. I'm going to take you through creation of 3D models from imagery using drone to map, and also how to create 3D models using City Engine. So to start us off, so drone to map enables creations of 3D mesh from imagery. And so you can be able to have your imagery captured, still images captured by a drone, then process those images to get your 3D meshed. So I'm just going to show us how to do that. This is drone to map. The first thing that we're going to do is create a project that we're going to work with. So we're going to choose the various templates, as you can see on your screen, rapid 2D mapping and 3D mapping. And so our interest right now is to create a 3D mesh that we can be able to share with stakeholders. This comes in handy for guys working within the built environment, planning professionals, contractors, real estate developers. So you can be able to monitor development progress even when you're not on site. So using a drone, the various images that will have been captured can be processed, and you can be able to share with the various stakeholders so they can be able to monitor development progress on site when they are not on site. So we're going to have this template. Let's give it a name. And then now we're going to have the images that were captured, the still images that were captured by the drone. So we get to the location where we have our images. So we select that folder that contains the images, and then now we add the images. So these are our images here. We are adding these images to our project. So we have the blue points. The blue points represent the images, are the images that were taken. And then we have orange lines. That represents the part that was taken by the drone while capturing these images. So the next thing that we're going to do, we have imported our images here. So we're going to process our images, so we have a 3D textured mesh that we'll share with our stakeholders so that they can be able to monitor development progress on site. So we have processing options. So we have settings, we have various parameters here. So for us to be able to process our images faster, we'll choose the rapid option so that it takes less time. Then we'll have free flight or terrestrial. And then of course we want to have our point cloud and the 3D textured mesh. So LAS is the default file type for point clouds in ArcGIS. And then we also have our output. We'll want these images to be in various formats such that we can be able to share even with other CAD softwares. So we can have OBJ, we can have FBX, and also AutoCAD. And once we are done, you can see now our start button is ready, and it's indicated down here that it's ready. So we are ready to process our images. So we'll start processing. We'll simply click on the start button and our processing will begin. But because of time, I have already done that. So we'll have our already processed images. Just a minute. So we'll have 1 minute. Yes. Yeah, so we have already processed images. As you can see, so this is what you have after the images are processed. So the developers who are not on site can be able to see exactly what the progress is on site. So the next thing that we're going to do is share these images, share this scene to ArcGIS Online so that we can be able to share with our stakeholders. So we have this button here, share button. So we're going to share this scene layer. So we have the name is 3D presentation from imagery, and then first of all we'll share this with my organization, then from there we can be able to share with the various stakeholders. So I had already shared this because of time. So we have, this is my content, and we have the 3D scene here, 3D presentation from imagery. This is it. So from here, we can actually be able to share this with the stakeholders, and they can be able to monitor progress. So there's a share button here. We can share on the various social media platforms or even via email. So that is it. So the next thing that we're going to look at is how to create 3D models using City Engine. So City Engine is a 3D modeling software that uses rules. It uses CGA rules. CGA is computer generated architecture. So as opposed to other CAD softwares, modeling with City Engine is very easy because we have rules. So we simply apply the various rules and we're able to generate our models. I'm just going to show us that. So this is the City Engine user interface. We have the navigator So the navigator contains all the folders of your project. We have the various assets, the data that you'll be using, images, maps, and now the rules. Most importantly, the rules that you'll be using. Then we also have the viewport. So the viewport is where you'll have your 3D scene. This is the viewport. And then we have the inspector window. So the inspector is where you're going to change the various parameters that you want applied on various buildings or even greenery when you'll be doing your modeling. So the first thing that we want to do is get a base map. So under files, we want to get map data. And suppose we want to have a model for Dar es Salaam. I want to use something that is familiar to all of us. So you'll simply come here and type Dar es Salaam. Then you will zoom in to the specific location that you want. For our case, let's have it there. And the next thing that we're going to do is set map extent. So we can work with that extent. So we're going to download both the networks and the polygons. What this means is that the networks will show us mainly the roads, and then the polygons will show us the building footprints. Then from there, we can be able to apply the various rules, and we can be able to generate our 3D models. So we have our base map with the street network and the building footprints. So as I said, City Engine is very easy to use. With the rules, we can be able to model quickly. Within a few minutes, we will be done with our model. So I'm going to select, we have various layers here. We have major streets, which are mainly the collector streets, and we have other streets. Then we have buildings, we have a layer for buildings and also for greenery. So I'm going to have to select the buildings. So you can now see that our inspector window is active. So I'm going to have all our buildings, and we're going to apply rules to these footprints and generate models. So we'll assign rules. So we're going to have buildings from footprints, and then we generate. So within a very short time, we have our 3D models. And then on the inspector window, you can be able to change various attributes. For example, you can be able to change the building height. You can select a particular building, say this building here. Maybe we want the height to be 30. So within no time, we have that. You can change the roof form. Maybe we want to have a hip form, roof form. Within no minute, you have that. So you can change the properties. You can change the various building properties. And then you can also, there are rules for adding various streets, furniture, vehicles, greenery, and all those. So once you've done that, I'm just going to show you, because of time, a complete model. So this is it after adding the various street furniture, greenery, and even having the 3D buildings. So once you're done, you'll want to share this with the various stakeholders so that they can be able to see the development progress. So you want to share this with the various stakeholders. So what you do is that you select all objects, then you export them. So we select all, then we export. I had already done that. So under the models layer, we have Dar es Salaam.3 WS. So this is the format for city engine models. So with this now you can be able to publish this to ArcGIS online, and then the various stakeholders can be able to see or monitor progress or even your complete web scene. So once you've published this to ArcGIS online, we have it here. We have Dar es Salaam web scene. So you can be able to see this web scene, share it with various stakeholders, and they can be able to see, they can be able to monitor development progress, they can be able to see, and if they have comments on what has been taking place, then they can be able to make their comments. So here we have various layers. As I showed you, we have major streets, we have buildings, we have greenery, and we also have other streets. You can be able to search for specific buildings or objects. Say we want to search for hotels within our town. So when you do that, it shows you the layer in which the hotels are in. So for example, we have Hyatt Regency, we have Southern Sun, and we have New Africa. You can also look for garden or something. Yeah, so we have the botanical garden, it's in the greenery layer. Then there are settings for sunlight. So for example, if you want to have a real picture of when these say you want to show exactly what time of the day this is, you can indicate, you can change these settings and it shows the different times of the day. Then you can also choose the month, say December. Then we also have a place where the various stakeholders who we've shared this web scene with can be able to leave their comments, and we also have one for description, generally the information about your web scene. So this is actually good for professionals within the built environment. It's quite easy. With rules, modeling is quite easy. Thank you.
Well, it was all about 3D, and I think that was nice. So you have all the powers to take your everything to 3D. And again, there's some concept that we do talk about designing in nature or geodesign. All those come in. Once you've done all that, so what next? What is next is to do your design work or planning with what exists. So you're just not doing your planning abstractly, but you're doing it with something that already exists, the nature as it is, and doing several analyses on the same. The second last thing that I would like to show is insights that I would like Laban to show us. This is a new tool that comes with the ArcGIS Enterprise. It's an extension for ArcGIS Enterprise, and just help you to visualize or get more insights from your data. It's more of a BI tool for GIS. I'm not going to say much about it. I would like Laban to quickly show us that.
Excuse me. Yes, so we're going to have a quick look at Insights. So Insights is basically a tool that's used to give business intelligence. And in this particular scenario, we'll be looking at electrical outages. So a company has been experiencing electrical outages caused by devices, and they've stored the information in such a format, in CSV format. So where we have the device that caused the outage, the phase type, device type that caused the outage, and the number of calls and outages that have been experienced. So it's hard to make some sense of this information, but we'll see how Insights can allow us to make some sense of it. So Insights is part of the ArcGIS Enterprise, which means that you access it through the portal. So this is actually a portal for ArcGIS, an on-premise implementation of Enterprise, ArcGIS Enterprise. So by clicking on this particular button, leads us to the Insights page. And this is what Insights looks like. And let's see the process of getting information from that CSV file. So the first thing we need to do is create a new workbook. And this new workbook allows us to get data from many options. You can get data from your own ArcGIS enterprise. You can get it from the organizations page. You can get it from a database. So for example, this is connected to an SQL database, or you can get it from Excel or CSV, which is what we're going to do. So I have the same CSV that we're looking at over here. I'm going to go ahead and drag it in there. And basically what it does is that it reads the whole file, and you are able to add it to a workbook. So the workbook is like an Excel workbook. And let's see how we can make use of this workbook to gain some knowledge. So we're going to go ahead and see the fields inside the CSV. There's a number of fields. We are lucky to have X coordinates and Y coordinates of where these outages were found. So we're going to go ahead and enable location on this particular data set. So using the location type named as coordinates, I have X coordinates and Y coordinates, and I'm using WGS84. I'm going to run this so that I enable location on the data set. So once my location is enabled on the data set, which is actually a CSV, then we'll be able to see the data in map visualization. So Insights for ArcGIS uses cards, items known as cards for visualization. And basically to visualize something, you can click on a particular item, drag it onto the interface, and you can see the different types of visualizations that can be employed. Since I've enabled location, I'm able to create a map. So I'm going to go ahead and create a map. And like that, I'm actually able to see different maps, different details right here. Okay, let me just try that again. So yeah, there it is, sorry. So these are the outages that were experienced around Dar es Salaam. I'm going to maximize this. And this is great, but perhaps it doesn't make a lot of sense. So maybe to visualize it better, we can have it visualized as a heat map. So the heat map gives me a bit more information about where the outages are happening. You can see they're around this area. But I'm more interested in the devices that are causing too many outages. So I'm going to go ahead and go to outage count. And I'm going to total outages. Let me just look for total outage minutes. Sorry, so total outage counts, yeah, sorry. Looking for outage counts. So I want to create a filter, and I want to separate the devices that have been causing 15 or more outages. So using this particular filter, I'll be able to do that. I'll move this on to something like 15 and go ahead and apply. So I've applied a filter on the map itself. So ideally, this should actually will actually react and show me a value of where these spots are. So these are the spots that are causing 15 or more outages. So I could have a different number of visualizations. I could have a visualization of total outage minutes to see which particular areas have the longest outages. These are the same areas. I could also go ahead and see where there's total customer calls, most customer calls concerning outages by just dragging in the data. Remember, this is all coming from the CSV. But then, as you can see, it seems to be concentrated around the same area. Remember, all these cards are showing where there are 15 outages or more. And now I want to find out which devices are causing these outages. So I'm going to pick the device type over here and drag it in here, but in this case I want to show a chart. So like that, I'm able to see the chart, and the chart is reactive. It reacts to the rest of the visualization. So if I want to see where the transformers are, this is where the transformers are. These are the transformers that are causing the outages. If I want to look for a switch, these are the switches that are causing outages. So this is great, but I can visualize this in a different and more intuitive way, which is a donut chart. Also, Yeah, it's if you like eating, yeah, donut chart. So you can see, we'll see a different visualization of the same thing. So I can see that these are switches and transformers. So the same kind of interaction. So once I've done this, I've been able to locate, okay, the switches are causing this is where they're located. What I want to do now is go ahead and get some sort of idea of the devices that I should be targeting. Since I have a field called device ID, I can drag this in. I'm going to go ahead and create a table. So the table will tell me what kind of devices are causing the outages. So it's basically just reading from the CSV, and I can see these are the devices. 100C, there's one of these, and it's causing an outage, so on and so forth. Now I can also drag other kinds of information to get some sort of idea of what's happening. So now I can tell that 100C, there's one of it, there's one instance of 100C, and it's causing 40 outages. I can also add something like outage minutes. So I can see 100C has caused 40 outages, and in total has caused 60 minutes of outage. So if I want to like give my business manager a reason why I should send out my field crew to go and what do you call it? Enable field crew to go and fix these items. And I can give him this particular card that shows exactly why we need to go ahead and fix switches and transformers. Remember, all these things are still related. So if I click on something, then you're able to see all the other cards react. Now, for my business crew, they need to see which particular devices they're working with, so I can go ahead and give them another card called device ID. And for this particular device ID, what we'll do is we'll make it a bit interactive as soon as it displays. So there it is, it's displaying in a short while. So there it is. So we can fix this to work with selections so that whatever is selected, so for example, only show selections. So if these are the transformers that need fixing, these are the switches that need fixing. I hope you can see that. So this is great. Once I'm done, I can actually save this as a field justification. Field justification, and share this with the people who need to see it. Now they can see, they can play around with the card and actually do stuff with it. So I can share this page. Remember, it's part of ArcGIS Enterprise. So you can share it across the organization and see a lot of things. So finally, what if this is a recurring thing, that you get outages in terms of CSV and you need to do this kind of procedure all the time? The good news is that Insights is a repeatable process. So at the top right, we have an analysis view, and every operation that I worked with is viewable. So every operation, I did a filter, I did a locate, we aggregated some data, and so on and so forth, and we got the following outputs. So the next time I have a CSV that somebody is working with, all I need to do is come to the update over here, change the table that I'll be working with, and then it will automatically apply all the operations that I did and give me some sort of output. And with that, I'm able to get insights from the data that I have. Thank you.
I hope you've got insight from the insight that we've been shown, and I hope it was insightful enough. The last thing that I would like to show is open data. So we've done a lot of stuff, but we need at the end of the day to share some of the information that we have with our constituents. And this is the data set that we have. Remember yesterday we had a very interesting discussion about open data and issues of authorizations or having the mandate to own and also to share the data came up, and those are really very important stuff. And I've seen several organizations also having their open data sites, which I think Wens will be showing us. But this is actually something that came along with the discussions with the of open governance or open government, and government willing and discussions about governments being transparent and open to the citizens, and also several governments also being willing to do the same. But of course, at the end of the day, the question is, how do we do it? So of course, as much as very many governments have not done so, but at least there are tools that help them to do this. Certainly, open data for ArcGIS. Again, this could be done at different levels. It could be at your own organization level. It could be at a team or a group. For example, for their own organization level, like I've seen which organization I wanted to mention, like NBS that he mentioned, they have some open data. And also at a group level, could be different group consortium of different organizations. But even a user group, for example, I've seen energy sector user group in Uganda doing the same to share their data set. Some of them are here, you could link with them. At a national level, Kenya Open Data and many others that are being done. I don't want to talk much since you're very tired. This is the last demo. Once it's done, there's no more demo. But of course, I'll come back to tell you something which you should not miss. When it's scary.
Okay, thank you, Cliff. They say you save the best for last. Brace yourselves, winter is coming. So basically, this is just a simple site, open data site. We're just gonna have a look very, very shortly at some of the open data sites, some simple, some more enhanced. In less than 5 minutes, just run through and see what you can achieve with this, what has been achieved, and what guys are doing out there with this development. So this is a simple open data site in Kiswahili. Basically, this, as you can see, Umoja ni Nguvu, this is where you can put your themes for perhaps the open data site, what you want to share, pata data, Kiswahili for, get data. So the tafuta data box here is for searching for your data. So, right now we're not going to search for any data, but perhaps let's assume that I'm a surveyor and I need perhaps to know some of the regions in Tanzania in terms of length. So I come to Mipaka, a Kiswahili word for boundaries, and check out the regions out here. So as we wait for it to load, so those are the regions of Tanzania, and as we can see, open data allows us to see a lot of stuff. We can come to data. We have a region here called Simiyu. We can come here, click on Simiyu, and perhaps zoom to. Simiyu is a very good region in Tanzania, very fertile region. So this is the shared area. This is the shared length. Perhaps something that surveyors would be really interested in. That's just to give you guys a rough idea of how someone can make use of the open data. So you realize that I'm a named user, but you can as well access this without necessarily being a named user. So we're going to have a look at some of the other more enhanced. So this is just a basic open data site made in less than 20 minutes. Just some casual editing here and there, because you can create this using a see is what you get interface, where you just have your data ready and you copy paste it, and there's no much code needed here because 80% has been done for you, and all you need to do is actually just customize. So let's go to open data site that we were trying to create for the NBS. You can see their logo there. This is the NBS GIS Open Data Portal. It is under creation, of course, so not much has been put into it, but we can still see what these guys have done. Some customization, putting the theme right where people can see it. So let's proceed to another better created open data site. So this is the Kenya Open Data Site that consists of all the data from Kenya. We're not really gonna search anything here, just having an overlook and see what our experts did from Esri Eastern Africa. And this, as you can see, is a lovely site, well customized, but not much of programming done as well. So this is an open data site of one of our partners, Regional Center for Mapping and Resources for Development. And you can see they've also done a lot of customization. And this is lovely. You can see that they chose to put an imagery, a large one for that. And we have some of the data sets. Let's perhaps, these are some of the countries down there that these guys can access. So let's just look at all data sets. So if we click on all data sets, then it brings us all the data sets in the site. So you realize that there's a PDF here. This is something a bit new, but then this shows us that we can now include PDF documents in our open data sites. And this is how it appears when you open. And the PDF, when you click now open, you'll get something of the sort. So basically you can get this PDF, perhaps download it. So in case you want to share extra information on open data that perhaps you may not be able to represent on maps and all that, you can simply put a PDF and it will help guys as that. So let's look at perhaps the second last open data site called Environmental Life, and you guys can now see some of the sustainable goals just put into an open data format. And this as well, you can see that some enhancement has been done here and there, and this just shows you guys what we can do. So finally, let's go to very advanced, perhaps, open data site, and a lot of customization has been done here, a little bit JavaScript here and there. So you can see that the imageries are now in black and white, but when perhaps you highlight, they turn in color. So these are just some of the graphics, and these were just some of the open data sites. Perhaps you can, on your own, check them out, see what you can do. From me, that will be all. Thank you.
Thanks, Wens. I think that's kind of the end of the demos. Not the other demos. That's the end of the show that we wanted to show you today. The show that we wanted to show you today. At the end of the day, I think what we've been talking about is this put in very nice words coined by somebody. I don't know who, but somebody has that. This ArcGIS or WebGIS enables everybody to easily discover, use, make, and share maps from any device, anywhere, anytime. And it means that everybody in the organization could use WebGIS from wherever they are and using whichever device that they have. And of course I was taught Swahili, because in Kenya we speak very bad Swahili. No, our Swahili in Kenya is good, but Swahili in Tanzania is better. But what am I saying? We're just speaking another dialect of Swahili in Kenya and another one here. So all of them are better Swahilis. So, but this is very interesting. ArcGIS huwezesha kila mmoja kugundua, kutumia, kuunda na kusambaza ramani kwa urahisi kutoka katika kila kifaa, kila mahali, kila wakati. I think this is nice. I'm happy about this. So this is ideally what we are saying, that ArcGIS is for all of us. But I'll not sit down. You will not go home before you understand this last slide. This is very important. This slide. We've shown you very many things. So what next? Of course, you can't do everything at the same time. Just to be practical, you can't just get it and you have open data, you have insight, you have collector, you have everything all at the same time. You could, but I mean, at the start, there must be a workflow, there must be a roadmap for you to achieve all these things. I think I'm being practical, right? That's true. So, these WebGIS, of course, that you could do everything that we've talked about, plus others that we've not shown you, and you'll be seeing them in the technical workshops tomorrow and other user presentations. The first thing is that you need to configure as much as possible and before you customize anything. Because it is configurable and open, please, for you to jump, to have that, to leapfrog and get everything up and running, please configure as much as possible, and then use most of the templates and the configurable stuff that we've shown. Everything that we've shown here, you don't need to hire a developer to do them. You just need some GIS guys to do the configuration and you're good to go. But as you're doing that, you have to identify your IOCs, what we call initial operating capabilities, which I think Kirsten might have talked about. You identify them, prioritize them, and that will guide you to know which one am I starting with, based on the initial operating capabilities that are needed. You get that? If you need to empower the field workforce, then that is where you start from, and then others will follow. So, depending on that priority, and you identify the IOCs, you prioritize them, and then you nail them one by one as you go. You remember I talked about agility. Agility in development, agility in deployment, and agility in everything that you do. So of course, once all that is done and all the essential information products or outputs are being worked on, at least work is done and everybody is happy, then you could go an extra step of doing stuff that are on your right-hand side. So of course you start from the left-hand side, and then you move to the right-hand side. But now, this is the point that now you extend or do your custom application. I think when Wentz was talking about customization, he actually meant configuration. So, well, at times, developers are taking easy. There's some simple terms that we don't get the difference. But when it's configuration, so not customization. So a lot of all these things are just configured. No line of code, no developer involved, just configure them, just fix what is yours and you're able to go. So, but at this time, when everything is up and running, you're doing your work and everybody is happy, there are other things that need extra development, they need extra efforts. Then start with them. Now extend these capabilities. You might use the add-ons, you might need a developer to customize, you use runtime or SDKs to do all these kind of things. Secondly, remember we talk about integration and just being open. Once this is done, then this is also a point that you now think of. Let's integrate with other systems. Let's integrate with CRM. Let's integrate with ERPs and many others. And of course, add the different advanced workflows and many other things as you proceed. I think that's a good roadmap that I wanted to give before we go home. Was that good? Thank you. Yeah. I expected you guys to clap. That's why I was kind of not very sure whether I was done or not, but I expected that. So thank you very much. I know we are blocking questions because everybody is leaving, but the very serious guys who really want to ask questions, please, we are not leaving this desk until everybody has left. So use us or utilize this time, will be here as much as possible. Even tomorrow, almost, the last announcement, the last thing, almost all these tools we've shown, they'll be featured in the technical workshop to tell you the nitty-gritties of how do you start, how do you do it, and all that. So also attend those technical workshops to see them into details and ask us questions. Thank you very much. I'm not sure whether there's any announcement from Pauline. No announcement from Pauline. The session tomorrow starts at 8:30, so let's all be seated by 8:30. Thank you very much and have a nice evening in Dar es Salaam. Thank you.